completion of any MM, SD, FIPP or something like that? Yeah. So PP, MMSD, FIN, PP module, even technical module also fine, but mostly we are focusing on the functional modules. Okay. So guys, actually before I go to start the demo session, so I want to make sure. So why maybe you already completed the training, right? And still so maybe you're coming for the implementation project also. May I know what is the reason actually? So you guys already completed training, so, but you are expecting something. So, could you please update anyone? So, why you are expecting for the implementation projects? Anyone can, yes, quickly.
If you see the most of the company they want the implementation experience. Currently we are working in the support, but
Okay,
they
your voice
need
is
at
low.
least
Your
one
voice is
now
very
getting
low.
into implementation.
Okay, you mean to say
Hello,
most of the
am I
companies are
audible now?
most of the companies are expecting implementation projects.
Yes, at least they want the one implementation project.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Rahul, could you maybe anyone can so quickly? So why this implementation project training is required? Because you guys already studied and you invested money, invested your time also. Maybe what is the reason actually?
Actually, from my point of view, to earn good salary and to get a go to get good knowledge in the implementation part, because in IT world, developers only get most of they will get mostly paid
Okay.
compared to support.
No, my question, you already get trained. Most of them they already get trained in MM or SD or FI or PP or any
Yeah,
kind
yes,
of module. But why this
yeah,
project, your project training is required? So what is the reason
yeah,
behind?
because I want to refresh myself and I want to upgrade
Okay,
myself.
okay. So you
Yeah,
don't want to,
because
yeah.
so on YouTube or anywhere we get the information about the implementation project, but that is just like an overview. What is the as is process to be processed,
Yeah. See,
but we know where we get the detailed process. So we may, by looking at videos, we may clear the interviews, but it will be difficult to work when it's really we are working on a project. Because in
so
project,
actually in SAP,
yeah.
yeah, in SAP we say that there are two different type of jobs. One is for end user, another one is for the consultant. Right, so end user is nothing but if you completed the training, basic training, so you can join as an end user, or if you, but everybody join, getting training for the consultant jobs, but we couldn't able to get into SAP consultant, either MM or SD or FIPP. So what is the reason behind this? Consultant job is not easy, which means, see, everyone cannot become a consultant until and otherwise if you don't have the exposure, if you don't have the business exposure. For example, Hindustan Unilever is there, right? So Hindustan Unilever, yeah, so this is like one of the MNC company. Agree? So Hindustan Unilever is one of the MNC company, and so you want to work as a consultant there. Or there are so many company, not only HUL. It's a product-based company. Like we have Accenture, IBM, TCS, Wipro, Infosys, and all. But if you want to become a consultant, because if you have a 2 years, 3 years experience, people are getting minimum 1 lakh salary. So if you say about that, people are working in Accenture, maybe less than 4 years also, their salary will be near 1 lakh. But the end user who is working already a fresher or in domain, they are working, their salary will be maximum 30,000, 40,000. So worst case 50, 60 will be there, maybe based on their experience. But just in 3 years or 4 years experience consultant, their salary package is more than a lakhs. So what is the reason actually? So why the IIT companies or the consulting company, they are paying more for the consultant? So the reason behind that, you know, they are getting the revenue from the consultant. So the end user, they are not getting any revenue from the end user. So the revenue, because they are going to debit it to the customer. They are debited to the client location. Suppose there is an implementation project and you are going to execution of the project, and they are going to bill it for, let's say minimum, for example, 7,000 to 10,000 USD, per month. Maybe your salary package will be 1 lakh or 2 lakhs, but still they are getting minimum 7 to 8 lakhs package. So from on behalf of you, they are getting that. So that is the reason. So they are paying, more than 1 lakh or 2 lakhs also they are ready to pay. So that is one of the main reason the consultant job, and that's a challenging jobs also. So everybody can become a consultant. Yes. So we need exposure. So we need to get an opportunity. So until and otherwise, if you are not getting the opportunity, how you can become a Sanchit Tendulkar, right? So everybody should have the opportunity. So how you can able to get the opportunity? So first you have to showcase yourself as a I am a SAP implementation consultant. So you can ask me the question. So why I have to show implementation consultant? So because I already get the training. So because the industry, suppose let's say there are two different sides. So one side there are big crowds are there. I can say thousands of thousands people are there, and another sides, that opportunities for consultant level jobs are there. So there are 10,000 plus jobs are there. So here you can say more than 50,000 people are waiting for job. But in that everybody, in the 90% people, so their resume, if you see their profile, so they are telling that I completed the training. 3 years I have a domain experience. So I already worked in this technology. So now I completed SAP SD training. Now I have completed SAP FICO MM training. But I couldn't able to get into that. But the expectation is what? So they are expecting the people who already worked in the implementation projects. Even though they are going to put you in the support project, but they will the resume, the way of resume, the HR also they are going to look into that whether you have implementation projects. Whether they HR don't know which project they are going to debit to you, but their expectation is the way your profile they how they are creating, whether you are an implementation consultant or whether you are a support project consultant. So that is the reason actually, most of them, even they paid and even get the training and they invested their time, but they couldn't able to get the job, right? Okay, so what we are going to do here, so here we are going to give you the implementation project exposure. What Accenture company or IBM they are doing. So how their consultant they are going to with the client, going to client customer location as in implementation project. So they need to visit the client. They need to understand the process. They need to see what are the product which they are going to manufacture and what are the services they are going to do and what are the projects which they are going to execute. So these kind of business first you should understand that. So I know how to create the material master. I know how to create the customer master. I know how to create the GL master. I know how to create the bill of material. So that is not going to make any sense here. So you should know the business first. So how you can able to know the business? First, already they have implemented the same business we are going to explain to you, and you have to understand the business requirements. So now I'm going to give you the case study or that one, the execution of the project, the case study I'm going to give you, and so that you'll understand. So how you need to, what is your role in the project? So what role in the sense there are as a consultant there are certain roles and responsibilities. Okay, so we will see one by one the roles and responsibility. So I'm just going to showcase here as the implementation one of the existing implementation projects what we have done. So they have one of the construction based company. So they are execution of the project in Saudi Arabia, and they have so many divisions. Okay, so many divisions, like they are going to execution of the project, they are going to in the building the big bridge, they are going to building an apartment, they are going to build in the roads, that construction kind of projects. And these construction kind of projects they have multiple departments. If you see that the company code itself, if you see there is, this is one of the Alfara construction company. So this Alfara's construction company, so they have segregated their divisions. So this is like a general contracting. Okay, so this is a general contracting. One second. Yes. So this is the general contracting company. Okay, under the general contracting, let's say they have a three different type of offices they have, and so they have and another thing, another second one is like the construction, the equipment. So because any kind of projects, any kind of construction company, so they, I mean, they need to execute with the help of the equipment. So there are heavy equipments will be there, big cranes will be there, right? And that the bulldozers machines will be there. So these are all the equipments. Also they have let's say there are 500 plus equipments they are going to purchase. Maybe they are implemented millions plus dollars, so they have implemented for that. So now that is one of the divisions and what they are going to do the process. So let's say next to the third one, we can say there is a transport. So again, there is a, we can say there is a, transports also is there. Maybe they are going to the tanker, the water tanker or the diesel tanker or the petrol or, kind of vehicles they are going to, manage, and they are, maybe they have, let's say 500 plus project is there. So how they are going to execute the transport, right? I'll explain you what are the modules they are going to cover here. So next we'll go for the last, we can say as the aggregates. There is a quarry. So when they are going to do any kind of construction, so we need the quarry, right? So we need to uh, Yeah, so we need the quarry because the raw material. So we cannot go and buy from the external vendor, right? So they will be a big charge. So it's a raw material. So definitely it should be own of the company. So most of the country, what they are getting from the lease from the government. Maybe same like in India also, we have a 99 years concept. Same way the government municipality they are going to give the contract. Maybe the 99 years or maybe 50 years like that, and they are going to explode those kind of big rocks or mountains, and they are going to get the aggregate material, right? So this is one of the business divisions. Okay, so next then we will have the concrete, asphalt, concrete, bed mix. So what they are going to do, so this is a one of the kind of process, right? So based on the customer requirements or based on the project requirements, they are going to manufacture and they are going to distributing to the customer location or project location. So if in this process, if anybody have any doubts, please, let me know. If you have any doubts on that company, what is the business process? So now I have explained about the case study, explained about the, the execution of the project. So now, as a consultant, you should know what are the business process they are going to do. So Alpha, general contracting. So what are the business process they have. So if you talk about, they are going to procure the material, right? So for example, they are going to procure the material, then they are going to distributing to the project, right? Maybe it's a central warehouse, right? Central warehouse, what they will do, whatever the project specific material, whatever the spares and consumables, they are going to procure and they are going to distributing to the uh, you know uh, project site. So here our MM or SD or FI or PP, so what is the process they are going to execute? So now as a consultant, we need to understand, so what is the business process here and how the integration process works. So everything based on the project requirements. So they are not going to procure and they are going to keep it in the warehouse. They are not going to sell to the external customer. So here their execution of the project, for the project they need, there are equipment is there. There is a transport is there. So definitely they need to procure the spares and consumables. Agree? So for this person consumable, they will purchase in the central place, we call it as a central warehouse, and from the central warehouse, they are going to transfer that material, right, to the project, or they are going to transfer to the garages. Okay, what is garages here? So there is a place where they are going to do the services of your vehicles, maybe the heavy equipments, or maybe it is a crane, or maybe the transport, whatever. So they are going to do the services, and for that again, let's say the garages, what are the activity they will do? So there is a maintenance activity, correct? So what is the maintenance activity? So they are going to do the services of the vehicle. Maybe the project, it is goes to the project site, and let's say 6 months or 1 year, the equipment, they used. So again, it has to, work. So for that, they have to do the services. So maybe they have, maybe once in a 50,000 kilometers readers meters, reading. If it is crossed, then they have to do the services. Then during the time, so they have whatever the services which are required, everything they are going to do that. So now the process you have to understand. So the real time. So we know what is the purchase requisition, how to create the purchase order, how to create the invoice verification. We know, but as a consultant, so we should understand. Let's say you talk about, general contracting, so you have to noting down the step by step what are the process which they are going to execute currently. So maybe they are execution of any kind of ERP, so it doesn't matter, but what are the business process, correct? So that we need to understand first. Okay, so equipment I told, so they are going, it's like one of the asset procurement, correct? So we knows the asset, so how the asset procurements happen. So definitely there is a finance team, they are going to, raise the, internal order. If there is a budget check is there, then they are going to create the internal order. This internal order has to be approved, then it goes to the purchase team. So purchase team, they are going to use the internal order and they are going to procure the asset, right? And before the prerequisite, the asset master has to be created, then there is an internal order, this is optional. And that purchase, again it comes to the procurement team, right? So the requisitioner, or the who creating the purchase requisition, this has to go for approval again, right? So the purchase requisition will be go for approval, so then it will go for the RFQ process, so request for quotation comparison, right? So they have the RFQ process, so then they have the purchase order, then they have the purchase order approval process, then they are going to do the goods receipt. So during the, then after that they are going to do the invoice verification. So now that depreciation also will be calculated. So it's a general asset process, but there is so many processes asset they are going to procure. Then after that they are going to transfer the asset from one project to another project. So let's say I have transferred the asset, let's say from my head office to that project site, and project site they have executed. Okay, maybe 6 months is happened. So now I have to depreciate the value to the project. So then the balance value only I have to take care. So again, let's say for the value of asset is, let's say 1 lakh dirhams. So now let's say 75,000 actual, now they can that depreciated is, let's say 25,000 dirhams. So balance 75,000 only it has to be there. So again FI and MM, so wherever they are going to allocate the asset, wherever how they are going to transfer from one location to another location. So there is a printout is required, right? So asset transfer. So we need to transfer voucher has to be there, and you have to send to the project. And because so how we are going to supplying the goods, right, from one location to another location, in especially in India we have the GST, right? The same way, so there is also there is a procedure, there is a voucher should be there. So how we are going to transfer, and we are going to take the printout, and there that asset is goes to the physically to the customer or the project site. Okay, so next we discuss about the quarry. So quarry generally what happens, so we know, so there is a big place where there is a big crushers will be there, and they are going to there is a different sizes of the aggregate materials, right? So that big rocks will explode, and it will goes to divided into there is a 0 to 1 mm size, and 1 to 2 mm size, 2 to 3 mm, 3 to 4, and 2 to 5 mm. So there are so many combinations. So there is a different type of production line, we can say the crushers, there is a 2 to 3 production line will be there, and they will make the adjustment based on that the aggregate material will be manufactured. So here again there is a PP consultant is required. So how they are going to manufacture, and what basis they are going to execute the production daily basis. So maybe they are going to use for the repetitive, or whether they are going to use it for the production or discrete. So this process has to be executed, and this process has to be again integrated to the purchase and sales and finance also. So we already learned only the basic transaction, but here the understanding, right? So you need to connect with other module. Yes, I'm created the production order. So now I have to release the, after release I need to issue the material, right? So whatever the rocks which I need to issue to that particular crushers. So that is that is an additional integration process between MM and FI and PP, correct? So this kind of integration process, as a consultant we need to understand the process, how it is integrated, and which process and in which plant they are going to execute. So these are all the case, the preparations we called as a test scripts. I will show you how we are going to prepare the test scripts. Okay, so asphalt, the last one. So they are going to the asphalt is nothing but like the road construction, right? We are applying the aggregate material, plus they are mixing with the tar, and we are mixing with some additional the chemicals also they are applying with that. So finally they are applying to the road with the help of the machines and everything, correct? So now here also, so what happens, suppose let's say there is a okay, so here concept is the project, whatever the project they're executing, so other division they are providing the services. Example, let's say for the fabrication is nothing but one of the manufacturing, right? So what they will do, so based on the customer or based on the project requirement they are going to manufacture. Okay, again there is a production process. What kind of production process? So this should be the make to order process. Okay, so from make to order means who is requesting this order, whether the external customer or whether it's an internal customer. If it is an internal customer, who is the internal customer? Project is the internal customer. So based on that requirement, they are going to manufacture. There is a procurement process of MM. So that is a MRP process will be there. So MM team, they are going to get the purchase requisition from the production department when they are execution of the MRP. So then there is a approval process. So then the procurement goods issue. So after that they are going to deliver, right? Already they raise the sales order, correct? So now they have to supply the goods, supply the fabrication material to the project site. So project side they will receive the material, then they will do the invoice. So now there is a purchase sales. So what I'm trying to explain here is there are two different divisions. They are going to do the services. Either it's a product or either it's a services. So here every divisions project is as a customer, and the fabrication who is going to manufacture they are as a supplier. Agree? So same way, and project is the customer, and let's there is a transport they are going to provide the services to the project, correct? So again there is a purchase and sales process. So in such a way that we need to understand all the process, so we have to list out that. Okay, so this is one of the high level process I have explained. So next I will, if you have any queries, please ask me. So then I will go with the activate methodologies. Yes. Yeah, if you have any queries, yeah, please. They are requesting the material, right? So which means, so they are raise the purchase order. So now let's say it's coming from that equipment, or it's coming to transport, or coming to the quarry. So what they will do quarry, already they have manufacture. So this is called as a make to stock concept, right? So daily basis, whatever they are going to manufacture, the stock will be there. So now they are going to deliver. So once they created the purchase order, this purchase order will be approved in the project site. Correct? Yes or no? So after
Yes.
that, so now there is a sales. You have to create. Now the project you have to create as a customer. Okay, so you have to create a sales order and you have to create a delivery. So then you have to do the post goods issue, right? Then you have to raise the invoice also. And same day, project also already raised the purchase order. Now physically the material delivered from the crusher to the project site. So now they will do the goods receipts. Agree? So once they done the goods receipt, so then they will do the invoice verification. Now there are two different invoice. One is MM side, there is a invoice we call as accounts payable invoice, and SD side also they are raising the invoice. So now here what will happen? These are two different within the company code. Now they want to do the clearance. So I purchased let's say 1 lakh, and for the 1 lakhs I raise the invoice. I have to pay to that particular vendor. So here vendor is nothing but the crusher. So now finally they are going to do the adjustment. So finance they will do the adjustments, right? So this there is a F-32, right? There is a transaction they are going to create. Already there is a settings also is there in vendor customer, whether it's a intercompany. If yes, the tick mark is there, then you can do the intercompany adjustment. So in such a way that your process will be completed, right? They are going to you mean to say yeah, so now there is a request coming from that let's say project or external customer. Now unfortunately the quarry or asphalt they couldn't able to manufacture, or they couldn't send it there. Now they will get the requirement from the supplier. Yeah, so they are going to get the requirement from supplier, and yeah, so then this is we called as a drop shipment process. It's like a third party kind of process. So in the third party, what will happen? So you received that so you so what will happen? So you send the purchase order to the external vendor, correct? So let's say you are creating the sales order, right? Sales order to your customer, example project. So now what has happened? So now because this material I know this is not in-house, because I'm going to procure from the external. So I need to raise the purchase requisition automatically from my sales order, because I'm not going to deliver. So this deliveries happen from the external vendor. So the external vendor will deliver the goods to my customer, maybe the project or external customer. I will do the payment to the external customer, correct? But and I will send the invoice to my customer from that quarry only. I will send the invoice. So this is kind of drop shipment, or we call it as a third party process also. So there are so many process. So we will discuss, we'll do, discussion about the scope document. Yeah. So anybody have any other queries? The activate methodology. Yeah. So here, this is the activate methodology where the consultant, where how we are going to implement the S4 HANA, right? So nowadays everywhere is S4 HANA. There is no ECC. Okay, so now, so initially what will happen? So we will, get the scope document about the projects. So whatever high level explained, so they will prepare the scope document. So the scope document which contains about the org structure. So how many companies they have, how many entities they have, how many manufacturing plant they have, how many service plant they have, how many diesels, or maybe how many that we can say like fabrications, or how many pre-cost, right? So and what are the garages they have. So this all the high level org structure will be there, and then they will talk about your material, what are the different type of material they have, and what are the services they have, right? And what are the type of customer they have. So the high level information will be received from the project side. Okay, that is called scope document. So that's scope document I will explain you. So how that scope documents looks like. Okay, so I will just open the scope document to you. Okay, so after the scope document, what we will do? So okay, so this is like a high level log structure. Then we have the kickoff meeting with the customer. So kickoff meeting is nothing but there is a the team meeting, right? So the initial meeting with between the the team from the customer and there is a IT team, right? So whenever we go any kind of company or any kind of manufacturing or any kind of service product based company, there is a business team will be there. So who knows the business terminology, so they can communicate the customer, they can communicate their vendor, what kind of product and everything. And there is a IT team also will be there. So what is the IT team role? So they can understand their requirement, then they can communicate. Because as a consultant, because you directly you cannot involve to the business, because you don't have that their kind the their wavelength, right? So IT team will be the responsible to get the information, get the connect from the business team, and they are going to communicate to the consultant. Okay. So after that, we are going to the scope document I explained. So the scope document which contain about all the module process, and so you will even like a MM. So what are the scope and what are the process and what are the business process we are going to implement in SAP S/4HANA. So next there is a BPML process. Okay, the BPML is nothing but it's a business process master list. Okay, so as a consultant, for example, this is one of the BPML process, right? So the BPML process is nothing but like what is the org structure they have. Okay, and what are the master data and what are the procurement process, right? So procurement of they have a stock material, they have a non-stock material, they have asset procurement, they have intercompany purchase, they have intra-company purchase, they have a service purchases, they have a project procurement. In the project there is a services will be there, right? And same thing like a maintenance will be there, maintenance material purchases, like as spares and consumables, and there is a maintenance services will be there, and cost center material purchases and cost center level services, right? So these are all the type of process like inventory management, right? And stock transfer process, right? So all the business process has to be incorporated in the BPML. Okay, so this is I'm just giving one sample process. We will share you the template, and based on that you have to prepare the BPML process, right? So then we have the RISIP objects. So we have the ABAP RISIP objects. So we have to understand what are the RISIP objects. So we need to collect the RISIP objects. So based on the project, like SD side, what are the RISIP objects? Like let's say once you are creating the sales order, you have to take the printouts. While create the delivery, you have to take the printouts. While take the invoice, you have to take the printout. While create the debit memo, you have to take the printout. While take the credit memo, so you need to understand what are the forms which is required to develop. So, and what are the reports, right? So what are the customized reports and what are the enhancement is required. So during the requirement study, so we need to understand about module wise what are the RISIP objects. Clear, guys? So what we are going to do here? So any doubts regarding the preparation phase? What is the consultant roles here? Yes.
And so in the RISEF object, we will just be discussing that what RISEF objects will need. Like, for example, for interfaces, these are the objects need, or we will also see the process. Like there are different processes,
Yeah.
middleware, API.
So yeah, see
Yeah.
definitely. So we are going to discuss about all the RISE objects. What are the that's what I discussed, right? So what are the forms and reports, enhancement interfaces are there. So we need to understand. For example, there is a weight bridge. So when there is a they are going to carry the aggregate material or asphalt or maybe there is a steel kind of product. So we cannot able to count it. So there is a tonnage basis, right? So then there is a weight bridge, and they are going to link the weight bridge to the SAP. So the goods receipt, there is an inbound delivery will be there. After that, the goods receipt will happen through the interfaces. Same thing for customer delivery also. Okay, so when they are going to sell the aggregate material, crusher material, so there is a weight bridge. So this is kind of interfaces we are going to discuss, so that you can able to understand what we need to customize, how we can as a consultant, how to prepare the functional specification. Correct? So all the information is very much required. Okay, so this is the RISE related things. So apart from that, if you have any other questions related to the activate methodology, so preparation phase, so what you are going to do. So this is I'm talking about as a consultant, you are going to deliver. Correct? So these are all the deliverables. So if you see the column D, so this is a purely deliverables. So we only knows how to create the material and vendor, customer, asset and all. But here, so we are going to deliver as a we call it it's a documentations. We call it as a documentations. So we are going to deliver the documents. So what is the deliverables? So what is the kickoff meeting? What is the scope document finalization? And what is the BPML process? So these are all the things you have to understand. If you have any other questions, please ask me here. So next I will go for the explore phase. Okay. So explore phase, what will happen? So here we are going to demonstrate. Okay. What you are going to demonstrate? There is a fit gap analysis. Okay. What is the fit gap analysis? I talk about the BPML process, correct? So this is one of the module actually. Same way for all the module, you have to list out what are the business process. Correct? Same way, whatever you have to discuss about what are the business process we have. So uh, so now you need to prepare the fit gap analysis. This is nothing but one of the PowerPoint presentations. It's nothing but one of the PowerPoint presentation. You have to explain. For example, I can show you. So this is one of the process, right? So this is one of the process. So this is nothing but your sales order process, right? So sales order process. So you have to explain about the high level, what is the purpose and benefits, and what is the purpose and what is the benefits, and what is the key process flow covered. Correct. What is the key process when there is a sales activity? There is a sales order. There is order confirmation will be there. Delivery process and picking process, goods issue and billing. Correct. So now you have to explain about the complete, the process steps also. So then there is a second step you have to explain about, what are the roles. So who is the sales administrator? What is their role actually? Who is going to create the inquiry, quotation, sales order, contract, right? Okay, who is the warehouse clerk? What is their role? Who is going to shipping the material? Who is going to receiving the material? And who is the sales billing? What is the role? Role is nothing but there is a transaction, so a collection of transaction or Fury apps will be they will assign to you. Correct? Your master data team, they will assign only the master data related transactions. So that is the rule. Accounts receivable person only who will do the invoices. He cannot able to create the sales order, or he or she cannot able to create the delivery process. So these roles also you have to explain. So then you have to explain about the detailed process. Okay, you talk about let's say aggregate sales. What is the detailed process? So where and all they are selling, how they are going to manufacture, and what is the cost? How is there any transportation cost? So everything you have to explain high level here. So then you have to explain about the business flow diagram. So this is more important actually. So who is requesting? Let's say the project is requesting. So they are creating the purchase order. Then it gets approved. Then the PO comes to the your aggregate crusher. Crusher they are creating the sales order. The sales order then they are going to create the delivery. So now there is a transport vehicle is required. So transport is the third party vehicle or internal vehicle. If it is an internal, there is a revenue has to be booked. They have to raise the invoice to the project. So like that they have to create the process. The flow diagram has to be discussed here. I'm talking about just one generic process. For all the BPML process, all the business process like a MM, SD, FIPP, individual consultant, so we need to prepare, we need to deliver these documents. Agree? Any doubts in that? Right. So now the explore phase, yes, we have demonstrated. Then RISIP list also, whatever the gap and RISIP everything we have addressed. So then we are going to prepare the business blueprint. That is more important. Now you understand the scope and you demonstrated what are the process in SAP, the standard best practices. And next you have to prepare the business blueprint. In the blueprint you have to address what are the gaps and what are the RISIP object and what are the business flow diagram and what is the SAP 2B process and what are the reports requirements, what are the integrations. So everything you have to discuss, everything you have to address in the business blueprint. Agree? So then we are going to talk about all the test plan. So now your authorization roles assignment, I told you there is a role is required for each and every user who is creating the master data, who is creating the sales order, who is creating the shipping, who is creating the accounts payable. So we need to discuss because you are a consultant, you know which role, which T code, which what are the transaction code has to be assigned. So you have to create a role here. So next there is a realization phase. Okay, so realization phase, yes, so we have what we will do. So here that all the RISIP object will be you addressed, and that now technical consultant will do the based on your functional spec, they will prepare the technical spec, they will start developing, then there is a testing, right? Testing also they will do the testing first level, then you have to do the testing, then finally you are going to accept, then you will move the from the development to quality to production, so you are going to move that. So then you have to prepare the training also. So next you've done the configuration, right, based on your org structure and KDS and everything. So now you have to do the testing. So in testing there are three different testing you have to do that. So first you have to test yourself, whatever configuration you've done, whether the intra-company stock transfer is working, whether the make to order, say, process is working, whether there is a finance, the intercompany adjustment process is working, whether I can able to create the FI invoice, whether I can able to do the advance payment, whether I can able to create the sales activity, right? So this is like a unit testing. So in individual module consultant, first you have to check and verify whether the process is working. So next what will happen, you have to do the demonstration to the customer. We call show and tell. So whatever you understand about the project, whatever the blueprint you have prepared, based on the blueprint you are going to demonstrating to the customer. We call it the show and tell. Show and tell. So you have to demonstrate in your SAP system, right? So that is more important. So all the test plan, I told you there are three different type of testing. First level you have to complete all based on the test scripts. So how you can able to prepare? So this is your test scripts, actually creation of material and creation of supplier master, change supplier master, display supplier master. So whether I can able to create and change and display everything, first individually you have to test it, and you have to execute all the process, execution of all the procurement process, all the sales process, all the production process, all the finance related process. So now that is called unit testing. Next, there is a integration testing. What is integration testing? I'm going to execution of the query sales, aggregate sales. Who is requesting project? So now there is a procurement team is involving, and there is a sales team from the quarry who is going to involving, and there is a transport department, they are going to involve for the transport vehicle. So now there are three different type of process involving here. So we call it as a integration testing. So now you guys, everyone has to connect MM, SD, FI, you have to connect, and PP also, because they are going to manufacture. So they have to execute the process, they have to check and verify whether yes, the process is working. So we call it as a integration testing. Agree? So then the third level we go for the user acceptance testing. So here, before user acceptance testing, what are the activity you have to perform as a consultant? You have to download the templates, what are the master data is required. So you have to give it to the customer, and customer will give the data, maybe 50 or 75% of master data they will provide, material, supplier, info record, asset master, bill of material, routing, right, everything. So you need to upload MMSD, FIPP, you have to upload your master data in the quality system. Now they are going to perform the testing. So this is called user acceptance testing. So this is more important. Until and otherwise your UAT, your customer is not agreed, so you cannot move further, right? So this is more crucial here. So next we will go for yes, come to the deployment phase here. So we talk about now. So we completed all that, everything. So next we'll go for the deployment phase. Deployment phase is nothing but your cutover activities. What is cutover activities? So we are going to upload your master data. What is master data? So currently they are using, let's say for, they are using for like, Oracle system. So this Oracle last 10 year or 25 years they are using the system. So they have, let's say for 1 lakh materials, 50,000 customer, 25,000 supplier is there. So like that, you have a bill of material, work center, routing. So these master data first you have to extract from their, the database, correct? So then they have to upload into SAP. So this is called as a cutover activity. So we need some time. So we need, specific time. Let's say we have a 100 projects. So every project you have to upload the master data. You have to extend the material master. You have to extend the supplier. Supplier is nothing but the purchase organization. We have to extend. Right. Okay. So once we done the cutover activities, so then we are going to execute the user training, and then now following deliverables. So now each and every consultant you have to prepare the configuration document. So how the configuration document should be, how the architecture you configured, how the master data KDS you have configured, how the what you call the document type you have configured. So all the informations you need to configure it, and you have to prepare the user manual document. So this is the deliverable to the customer. Agree? This is the deliverable to the customer. Same thing, your functional specification, all the FS you have to deliver to the customer, right? And you have to deliver to the unit testing, right? The testing document, and you have to prepare the user manual document and configuration. So these are all the deliverable to the customer. So now we know only I can create material, supplier and all. But now in the project I am telling, so these are all the deliverables. So these are all the workload. So why I have to do this much work? Because you are the front face of the customer, you are going to meet the customer, you are going to give the solution to them, and based on that you have to design your PowerPoint presentation, the fit gap analysis, and you have to prepare your business blueprint, and you have to prepare the test cases, and you have to upload the master. So these all the roles. So that is what people they are giving a lakhs. Agree? So simply, they will not give you in a 1 lakh or 2 lakh salary for the consultant. So you need a day and night. If you are implementation project, 12 hours you have to work. Okay, but not every day. So it's crucial phases I'm telling, but still, but because you are the front face of the customer, you know the business, and you have to communicate and you have to prepare. This all the deliverable I'm talking. Okay, so after completion of the deployment phase and everything, so then we will go for the run phases. Run phases is nothing but your data is ready, your system is ready, your configuration is ready, your RISE object is ready, your cutover activities, your master data upload, everything is ready. So next business, they are going to execute the business transaction. Agree? So they are going to raise the purchase order, they are going to create the sales order, query, they are going to do the manufacturing process, and FICO, they are going to do the payment, they are going to do the advance payment, all the activity they are going to start. So we call it as a go live. So the day one, so then we are getting the issues, and we need to get the then we are going to get the support tickets also. So there is a go live and support. So this exposure also we are providing you. Agree? So now you guys have to tell so what you understand in this demo, and you just ask me. So next we have the interactive sessions now. Please ask me. So now I explained about the roles, what you are going to perform. I explained about the project, what are the business requirements, and everything I explained. So now you guys tell me what you understand and what is your roles, whether you are mapped with me. So now you should not think about that I'm telling something you are not understanding, because this is what the currently the consultant they are doing. So when you are getting a job in IBM, and the 3 years experience people what they are doing, that exposure I'm giving to you. So you never get this opportunity. Anybody cannot able to share these informations. Agree? So now we are giving this exposure to you. You land the implementation project, you deliver the implementation project, and put your implementation, update your profile also implementation consultant. Then you apply your job. Then you will get 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, 8 lakhs, 10 lakhs package, whatever you are demanding, you can get. Agree? Let me explain about the deliverables, right? So the deliverables also is going to be different. So here we talk about preparation phase, explore phase, realization phase, and but when it comes to ASAP methodology, right? So there is a project preparation, then there is a business blueprint, and there is a realization, then there is a testing and final preparation. So then go live. So their deliverable is completely different, and activate methodology deliverable is completely different. Yeah.
or we are going with the specific model.
No, that's what here all modules. So the current project already there are 7 to 8 people are joined. Okay, here all MM, SD, FI, PP will be there. Okay, so then only they can able to do the complete integration. So MM people cannot able to create the production order. Agree?
Yes,
Yeah. Yes, guys. One by one,
because
please. See realization and the cutover activities. You are talking about the cutover activities, right?
Yeah, both realization and
See
cutover.
realization. Yeah. See realization is like before realization. Guys can mute it. Huh? So before realization, your KDS should be ready. Key data structure. Okay, what is KDS actually? Maybe I can share your screen so that you can able to see the quickly. The KDS. The KDS document is nothing but your what is the codification, right? What is the nomenclature you are going to use it? Could you see my screen? So here you have to explain about your company codes and what are the plan, right? So what is the purchase organization and what are the purchasing group we are going to use it, and what are the storage location they are going to create here. So these are all the KDS, right? So all the KDS has to be created. So this KDS is nothing but the key data structure. Before you are going to do the configuration, MM, SD, FI, PP, the KDS document has to be prepared, so that there is a division, is a sales related KDS actually they have explained. We will share you all the template. Okay, this is for the configuration setups. When it comes to cutover activities, uploading your master data. So how to upload material master, how to upload the business partner, how to upload the GL master, bill of material. So this is cutover activity. So when what is the data has to be uploaded first material master, then supplier master, then purchasing info record, then the FI said they will go for GL master, asset master, bank master, customer master, supplier master, right? So we have to define. So and we need to understand the template also. So you have to give a training to that business team. Boss, this is the template, this is the mandatory fields, these are all the optional fields. You have to prepare in the same template. You have to give the data. So now currently there is a data migration. So earlier it was we design customized template. Now SAP they are given pre-designed templates. So based on that, every sheet have one views, material, basic data, plant specific data, one sheet. and MRP related data, and there is a sales related data, there is a batch related data, and description of the material, there is a valuation related and the accounting related, costing related. So in such a way that SAP now they come out with the new pre-designed template. You have to give explanation to the customer, and then only they can provide the data, right? Simply it's not copy paste. So you have to, based on the template, they have to provide you. Yes, please. Anybody have any? So this is a good opportunity for you want to get into SAP, and before that you are updating the skill set and you are going to showcase in your profile, and you are going to give a technical round interview, what you are really you faced during the implementation project, so that they will ask you about the cutover activities, and you can able to talk what is cutover activity, what is the tool you used, how you prepare the master data template, and tell me how many days you taken to upload your master data. You tell me what are the plant you have uploaded, what are the plant you extended, why you extended that plant, why you are not created. So there are so many kind of questions you can able to answer. Okay.